Man, King Sax,
What's going on?
it's good to see you.
Good to have
you. Put on a great performance, bro. How do you feel after all that, man?
Man, that performance, it was cool. It was fun, man. I like cool vibes, cool intimate settings. Yeah, I had a good time. Feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, we definitely gonna break down a lot of that. It was a 5-minute song. The people going to enjoy it. I'm sure they did.
Sure. Yeah.
But we've been trying to lock in for a minute,
man,
bro. It's really been since last, I want to say around December or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I know we met in person the first time at that spot I was playing at.
Were you and with Nephew?
Yeah, Dang, I forgot the name of that joint, but yeah, we met there.
Too.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So we met there. Soundbar.
Soundbar.
Yeah, there you go.
Shout out to
Soundbar. Yeah. So, but I met you before that. Though I feel like I seen you working. Like I followed you. And like I said, your stuff is always clean, professional.
Appreciate it.
Cool. So I'm honored to be a part. Thanks for having me, bro. For
sure. Man. We gonna dissect the music, bro. I want to start off by really understanding your origin. You know what I'm saying? Where you from? Like where you grew up. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your
I'm from PG County, Maryland. Some people think I be around the DMV. I'm not from Baltimore, contrary to some people may think. I'm not from D.C. I'm from PG County, Maryland. Okay. So
born
and raised, yeah.
All right, man. So take me through a little bit of your upbringing when it comes to like when you first picked up the saxophone. Like when did you first get started with that?
Yeah, it was 4th grade. I remember some kids from the older, because I think you started band in 5th grade in my school. Kimmel Elementary is where I went.
Same.
And the older kids came in to like kind of recruit and show it. And this kid had a saxophone. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So I'm like, went home to my parents, I want to do that. They let me do it. And I just think that story right there is crazy because I don't even remember homie. I'm pretty sure he don't remember me. But that one small interaction changed the course of my whole entire life, So it's like you never know who's watching. You never know who he's going to impact because... Yeah, it was small. It was like I saw them. They played like 2 songs and it was out. Never saw them again.
I was about to say it doesn't take much.
Yeah,
to inspire young
minds. Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that you want to inspire young minds the same way that man did.
Yeah, definitely. I have a few stories. I feel like I've already made a good impact, but I just want to keep it because I know what this instrument has done for me, and I want to carry that and spread it to as many people as I can.
Okay,
for sure.
So when did you start taking this stuff serious? Like, of course, you're doing band, you're doing all that. High school, you probably in a band too. But like, when did you really like say like, all right, I can lock in and I can probably make something of myself by doing it?
Like when I wanted to do it as a career.
Yeah.
Cause I took it serious. I feel like like when I first started playing, I was like really bad. Like everybody's bad when they start, but I was like the worst in the class, right? Wow. And I was so bad, like the teacher had to stop and work with me. Like everybody be like, "Ah, here you go again," like you know what I mean? Yeah. But I went home. I remember one day I tried to let all the kids like go ahead first because I knew they was gonna clown me after class, and I thought they was gone. Then I like left the class. They all jumped out there like, "Yo, you suck, man. We're not allowed to curse on here."
No, you just go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, "Bro, you suck. You some shit, bro. Like you just some straight up ass." Excuse my French, but that's exactly what they said. I have to tell the story, and then I feel like that was like my villain origin story. You feel me? I went home and I went home. I was so mad. I was so embarrassed, bro. So I went and I practiced. And I came back the next time. The teacher was like, told me to play the next passage we had to do by myself. And everybody like, "Oh, here we go again." And I played it, and it actually sounded pretty all right.
Wow.
So everybody looking like,
what happened?
I was like a fluke. So the teacher looking surprised, like, "All right, play the next one." Play the next one, Mr. Vaughn. Shout out to you, Mr. Vaughn. I played the next one. That joint sounded pretty good. He was like, "Nah, you can't do 3 in a row." Played the next one. It's like something just clicked. Like I practiced all week, and when he called, something just clicked. From there, like, oh, y'all messed up. I went from being the worst in the class to second best. I want to say I was the first best, but there was this girl named Adonze Nabu. Shout out to Adonze. She played trumpet. She was nice. She was the nicest. I was second best though.
That's cool.
Ever since then, that's when I kind of started locking in. I'm like, okay, like I can. Then I took it through middle school and college and high school and all that.
So let's stop back at college real quick. Morgan State, right?
Morgan State.
Okay, so explain that experience for you right there, going there. Was there anybody there that really inspired you, that made you better, you think?
Yeah, so funny going there, like I got my ass handed to me a couple of times, like
musically, right?
Musically, yeah. Pause. Ain't no Diddy, no Diddy. Nah, cause remember I told you. So after those kids did that to me in elementary school, bro, like I would practice a lot, but I practice just to be better than them. I wouldn't practice to be the best I can be. I didn't know there's a difference. I thought if you were better than everybody else, then you was the best. But had I been practicing to my full, I was measuring my potential and my skill based off of them.
Yeah.
So when I get to college, they playing circles around me. So I'm just like, oh shoot, you know what I mean? Like,
what was the difference?
Just their technique, they're like this, and they're more polished. They're sophomores, juniors. I'm coming as a freshman. They really, I thought I was playing, but now they really play. I mean, they've been putting in the work. They've been, because it's like after I knew I was better than you, I wouldn't practice. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Like, okay, I got it. I know I've played it. I know I'm good. I know I'm number one. Like, and I just chill.
Wait, where does that competitiveness come from, though?
I just think it's naturally in me. I don't know, but like I said, I think it was really because I did sports and stuff too. So I think.
What you play?
I did track and field. I did a little bit of football and wrestling, but
that mentality transferred over into the music.
Yeah, I'd say it was like, cause especially I feel like wrestling, especially because wrestling is not a team sport, it's you and your man, and everybody's watching you on mat, so you can't blame it on your teammate if you mess up, if you lose. Like, bro, that's just you. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that mentality too kind of like played into it as well.
Okay.
So
all right. So Morgan State, you start taking it serious. You see that there's a lot more expansion that you can have based off the skill set of other people that you're interacting with. Yeah. Did you start thinking there like, all right, yeah, I can take this to the next level? Or did something happen in your life to where you had to say like, nah, I'm going to stop playing with myself and I'm going to really take this to another strategy?
Yeah. I think there's a few parts to that question. But I feel like I had like phases where I took it more serious. Like how I even got, if I can rewind right before college, when I was in high school, how I started thinking about because I didn't know what I wanted to do as a career. I didn't think about music career because I didn't know too many musicians that did it as a career, right? And what happened? So it's funny. So I did this talent shows like an Apollo night at my school, and I ended up winning first place.
Wow.
And they was like, they was a tough crowd. They was booing everybody. They was booing teachers, doing the talent show. And I'm just in the back hearing them boo. And I remember I went and they played the wrong song. So I'm like, nah, play the right song. And everybody's like, oh. And it was Maxwell Women's Work. I know my dad got the video somewhere. I'm going to post it on my social media. Yeah. So I came in with the and everybody started going crazy. They like, oh, like, girl.
That's the song.
I won first for the next week. Like, I was like the man. Like, it was girls like popping their heads in the band room and stuff coming from me. I'm like, it was even dudes coming up to me like hood like dudes like coming up to me like, hey bro, like you got like a CD or something. I'm just like, whoa, this is crazy. You know what I mean? And I won. I didn't know you was winning money. I won $125. Like, bro, I thought I was rich, bro. Like $100. I'm like, for doing this
off your talent.
Yeah, off my talent. I'm like, so that's when it kind of popped in. Then I remember I was in the jazz band and we did a banquet for like the teachers, like the end of the year banquet. And one lady came to me and she was like, wow, y'all were good. I thought y'all was like a recording. Like, how much do you charge? I'm like, how much do you? I'm like, you can charge for that.
That started turning the mind.
Yeah. She's like, how much? I'm like, you get money from this? So that's when I started. I'm like, okay, we can turn. And so yeah, I think that's when I knew I wanted to do it as a career.
Okay.
Because until that time, it was a hobby that I was really passionate about. I wasn't thinking about doing it. But after, like I said, I wanted the money, and after I heard, she was like, I'm like, oh, you can really make money doing this. So that's when I started having the mindset of doing it as a career.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some musical inspirations do you think that like? What were you listening to when you growing up? Like, who are some artists that like really stuck out to you? You an R&B guy? You jazz? Like,
yeah. So it's funny. I started listening to like, because my parents real Christian, so I listen mostly gospel.
Really?
Listen in R&B, like old school R&B. I ain't listen to a lot of rap. I ain't listen to a lot of hip hop to the point I didn't even know the words to the songs. Like the kids be singing the songs in class. I know like the chorus, and after I just be mumbling the words, bro. I don't, because I can't listen to it. Like I don't know, bro. So mainly gospel and R&B was when I started. And I didn't really listen to traditional jazz. I listened to smooth jazz. It's funny, when I got to high school, I started playing like real, like Charlie Parker and stuff like that, Miles Davis and all that. Then I really started listening to jazz, and I started kind of straying away from smooth jazz because it started sounding a little different to me. But
that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so those are my main like focuses like growing up.
You say that with smooth jazz because that's really what I'm listening to right now. Like jazz to me, like I just started getting into it within these last couple years.
Oh yeah, who you
know
like listening to? Do you know?
Now, Chris Body, I went to a concert with him, but like I can't really name. I'm at the point where I'm just like discovering.
Oh, okay,
so like
cool,
you
cool.
probably put me on to some different stuff,
Right.
you know. But it has like a lot of soul to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's something where you listen to it. It can put you in any type of bad mood that you're having. It kind of just eliminates that.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
That's what I use it for.
When my I mean, there's even studies that jazz like increases like the frequency in your brain and stuff. Like it's cool to listen to when like you're studying, doing like that. It helps you retain information. That and classical music, so definitely. And it's just like a lot of great artists right now. My favorite, I think he just put out a project. His name is Patrick Bartley, bro. Like that dude is cold. He puts like a lot of soul into his instrument, but he still has the technique. My mentor and teacher, Brent Burkhead, he's amazing. He just dropped a new album. He has a couple albums out. So yeah, those are like just a couple of names off the bat. There's a lot of like amazing like saxophonists, especially in the DMV too. Like amazing saxophonists and musicians that really put me on and really inspired me and motivated me.
Yeah, let's take it back a couple of years. Right now it's 2024. 2020, you know, before the interview, we had a brief conversation, but you were saying 2020 was really about the year where you was like, okay, I'm gonna take this and turn it into a career piece. You know, what decisions do you think making that you made like were decisive in taking you to that next level? And like, what mentality did you have at that point? Because when especially because you're independent, right? You're not relying on any type of label backing. You don't have a machine behind you.
Right.
So it's like you really have to hustle. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Speak a bit about that hustle when you first was like, okay, I'm gonna make this into a career path, because people don't really understand like how much work it takes.
Let me tell you.
To really get your sound off and to like get your presence out there so people know who you are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially you walking into a club playing a saxophone. Like I'm sure people at first were looking at you like, who is this dude?
Yeah.
Right?
Man.
Speak a little bit about that.
So it's a whole transition. So I started playing on the street. The reason I did that, I stopped playing. So I had a daughter during the college. I'm at Morgan State. So I quit school because I'm like, you can't support a daughter off of music. So it was like months. I wasn't even playing the saxophone. Then my daughter, she got a little older, like around like 1 year old. She really had or maybe like a little bit older than that. She had a real love for cooking. Like she pretend that she's cooking everything. Me and her mom was like, yo, she gonna be like next top chef. Like we want to be going to a restaurant. Like, and I'm just like, dang, how do I teach her how to pursue her passion if I'm not pursuing mine? So that's when I started picking the saxophone back up. I do hip hop competitions to win some money because I didn't have a lot of it at the time, and I'd be the only artist in there, musician in there. It's all like hip hop dudes, like. And I'm talking about they like real like hood like type stuff, like trapping and all that. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about these dudes getting into a fight in the parking lot and like, all that. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, but I picked up what they was doing as far as how they got the crowd hype, as far as the cadences. I kind of transferred it to my own sax, made it my own.
Oh, wow.
Because I used to go to these showcases like every week. Like if you see like video of me when I first started playing saxophone versus now, I would just stand up there like this, like eyes closed, like shut off. Yeah, now when you see me like dancing and swinging, getting into, like I had to I wasn't comfortable doing that at the time. Like I was trash. Like I'm gonna be real with you, you know. But I kept on every week. I go to these shows, to a point they have a national show called Coast to Coast. They go to like all the major cities. I think you have to win like the top 3, and you go to the national competition in Florida. I'm the only saxophonist in the whole competition. They're going all around the world.
Wow.
I won first place when they came to D.C. So I went to Florida. It was 300 people there, and you had to make top 50. I made it all the way to the top 50.
Wow, 300 people.
I was 300 people playing the saxophone. I didn't make top 10, but I made top 50. I had them like singing to my song, and I'm talking about these are dudes that's about to like really get busy in like the parking lot. They like, oh, you cut in front of me? I ain't
people
like,
you probably know.
Yeah. I was thinking about like switching up, trying to like switch it up, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, man, because I'm just playing like some like Afrobeat R&B type stuff. I'm like, man, and they in the looking hard and stuff like that. I'm just like, bro, like they about to smack somebody. I'm just like, they not gonna sing along to this, but I'm like, yo, let me see if it works, and if it works, then it works, and if it don't, then but I can't try if I can't know if I'm scared.
Nah, yeah.
So I had him out like it's a part like it's call and response singing, and I was like,
singing.
Yeah, like call and response. Like I play something on the saxophone, like I'd have the crowd play it back. Yeah. And they sing. I got it on video. They singing like to the top of their lungs, like they like. I'm like, yo, I couldn't believe it. But I think that's when I knew like I really had something. So how it got to the street, that's the next phase of like my development.
Yeah.
I didn't want to play on the street because it felt like too much like begging to me. You know, like you out there and you got your K's and hoping somebody puts money in. I didn't want to do it. And my mom would tell me I should do it. I can make some money. My dad is shout out to my guys, John L and Steve Soul. They used to they play trombone. And they used to play trombone in Gallery Place outside the Metro. And my dad used to work there and see them all the time. And they sounded good. And they was like, man, they making some money over you better. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. So I remember for my birthday, he was like, hey, either I can buy you some speakers so you can go play on the street, or I'll take you to a steak dinner. I'm like, give me a steak dinner, bro. I don't want speakers. He said, all right. So I'm thinking we going to dinner. He bought some speakers. He bought my saxophone. I didn't know it. Had them in the trunk. We pulled over to the side of the road in Old Town, Virginia on King Street, which is since how I later got my name, but I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
So he was like, bro, if you don't like it, then we ain't got to do it again. But don't say you didn't try. Try it for 1 hour, see how you like it. So I'm like, all right. I tried it for an hour. And I made $40 my first hour. At that time, that's the most money I'd ever made in an hour. So I'm like, well, I can kind of get $40 turned to $50. Then I was making like $75 an hour. It got to the point that was my I was teaching at the time, but I'd go there on the weekends and make like $600, $800. Like just do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's when most people are out there, you know. So, and I was out there so much, people started calling me the King Street sax guy.
Wow.
Because I was on King Street in Virginia. So they was calling me King Street Sax. Oh, you're the King Street Sax guy. So before King Sax, my name was King Street Sax. Okay. And that's how I got that name. And I just became like, they would tell me, because there's like a bunch of people, like they call them buskers. The street performers are called buskers.
Okay.
There's a bunch of different people. There's people playing violin. There's people tap dancing, people playing the guitar, and a lot of people would come and tell me, like, man, you're my favorite one out here. Like,
wow,
we love it when you come out here. You know what I mean? Like, it was to the point, like, restaurants and stuff were giving me, like, food and stuff for free. Because I was playing out there, you know what I mean?
If that's not a calling, I don't know.
Man, it was crazy, bro.
Like,
I couldn't.
Like God really gave you purpose.
Yeah, man. It was crazy. So I was doing that for a minute, and I was teaching too. Then 2020 came.
What were you teaching?
I was teaching for a private music school like program called Music Together. They're like international. So and I was making good money there. I was the only teacher that was under 30. I was the only black I think I was like 23 at the time. So there was no other teacher under 30. No, I'm sorry, there was a teacher that was 29. Everybody
that's 30.
And right, yeah. So everybody else was like older, like in their 40s. You know what I mean? So then I'm the only black teacher. Everybody else was white, and I'm the only teacher without a degree. I don't know if they knew that or not, but because I was musically inclined enough to get the job, and and most of my families were like Caucasian, you know, and I'm in there, I'm playing Drake, I'm playing Beyonce, I'm playing Stevie in my classes, I'm playing the saxophone, and I was bringing like the real, not trying to like second job, but I'm like, I'm not going to hide who I am in my musical experiences for you to try and code switch, and like, now y'all going to get the real, if you don't, like, I come in there with like the ripped jeans and all that, like I was a do-rag, you know what I mean, like I wasn't trying to fake it, but they loved it. So I was teaching like 20 classes a week, and how it worked, I wasn't on salary, I got paid per class, right? So I'm teaching 15 to 20 classes a week. I'm doing good. Like I'm thinking, man, maybe I could save it for a house. Then the pandemic hit and we went virtual. I'm teaching mostly little kids, like 5 years old and under. You know what I mean? I'm like developmental music is what I'm teaching. So we tried it virtually, but it's hard to get some little kids to sit in the screen their 45-minute classes.
Yeah, they're not.
They'll listen to me like for the first 5, 10, 15 if I'm lucky. Then they off doing their own thing. Right. You know what I mean? I can't. And the way I teach too, my teaching style and how it's set up is supposed to be real interactive. Like we're passing out instruments during class and holding hands and patty cake and all this stuff. So yeah, I can't do none of that. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So trying to do it on the screen, it just wasn't. So people were taking their kids out of class, rightfully so, trying to save money. So I went from teaching 20 classes a week to 15 to 20 classes a week to 3.
Wow.
So I'm just like, I ain't making no money.
Yeah, I was about to say bread slowing up.
So that's when I started going like crazy on the street. Like that was my full-time job, and it's amazing. Like I hate to say this because I know COVID was a bad time for people, but for me it was like one of the best. I will say COVID gave us one gift. Everybody, it gave us time to think, time to reflect. Because all you had was time. You couldn't go to work, couldn't go to school, you couldn't go anywhere. All you was in the house. So it gave me a lot of time to really figure out things and work things out. So I went back to playing on the street like more heavily. And a beautiful thing, that street was a busy street. And during COVID, remember everybody was like outside restaurants.
Yeah.
So they closed off the street. And it's like a row of restaurants too, but it's a busy street. So they closed off the street and all the restaurants put their seating outside. So it was like a central area everybody had to walk through. Like, so it's like crowded, packed, and it shouldn't be because it's COVID. But, you know, they're a little more lenient, you know. DC. Yeah, right. You know, well, Virginia.
Oh, Virginia.
Yeah, but they're a little more lenient with their rules with outside seating. You know what I mean? So I park right in the middle and I play and, man, I go, you know, go crazy. And that's when my name really started being spread because that influx of people. And that from there taught me about the business because I was making a lot of money on the street. And I encourage every single musician, if you can, go play on the street, man. Like that taught me about performance, taught me to get my confidence up, you know, and because you have to eat what you kill, so to speak. So
turns you to a savage.
Yeah, like I had to go get it, and then plus there's other buskers there too. Like there's like probably like 6 on one street, so you gotta stand out. Yeah, man, you have.
So it's really competition.
Yeah, it's competition.
So like all that competition beforehand got you prepared for.
Yeah, like you really
compete. Like, all right, I'm like a dog. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's how. Now I used to I remember we'd be comparing at the end of the day how much they make, how much I make. Like I'm like, oh, well they tell me like, oh, I made this much today, and I'm like, that's it. You know what I mean? Like yeah. Yeah, and the cool thing about that stuff, I'll give a secret. I don't play more. I'll give a secret. It's a beautiful spot because it's a tourist spot and it's like where people like not like retirement, like senior citizen home, but when you're 60s and you got a lot of money and you want to retire, that's what you retire to. On top of it's tourist spot. Yeah. A lot of tourists would come. I remember when Old Town Road came, it was like tourist buses, like nothing but white kids. Yeah. I played that one song, Old Town Road. I barely played it. You know what I mean? I just let the music go. Get $100 off that one song.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm just like I couldn't believe it. I'm like, because everybody just thought because these kids they're tourists and they're like privileged like kids. Like they got nothing but money to spend. Yeah, like that's their purpose to be there is to spend money. Their parents gave them money to spend.
Yeah.
So that's a good spot if you know. So, but anyway.
Well, wait, hold on real quick. I just want to highlight the fact that like through all this trial and error, like you're learning how to market yourself.
Yeah,
and you're learning how to appeal to different demographics.
That's exactly what I was about to get to. So I was making a lot of money on the street, but I wasn't getting booked. Like nobody was asking me to play at their events or anything. So one dude kind of hit me. He was like, yeah, like you sound amazing, but can't nobody picture the boy in like a t-shirt and shorts at their wedding, you know what I mean? Because it's hot out there, like, or it'll get cold. I'm not dressing to impress. Like I'm just dressing to be comfortable to get through the day. Because I'd be out there 3, 4, 5 hours, like 6. Like if I was really like making a lot of money, I did like to the point where like my lip is bleeding. Wow. You know what I mean? Because I'm like each hour I'm like they throwing money. I'm just like, man, I can't stop. I think the most I ever made was in like 2 hours, and I could have made more, but I just had to stop. It was $500 like in 2 hours. And I remember it was this painter. I got the painting. My dad bought the painting. This dude, he'd be like painting live. And he heard me play. He was like, bro, can I paint? Older dude. I forgot his name. Shoot, I think it was Jerome. I can't remember his last name. I'm like, yeah, sure. So everybody stopped because they were like, oh, what's he doing? And I was just playing. And everybody threw their money in. I counted it after. I was there for like 2 hours. It was like 500. I'm like, yeah. Wow. I couldn't believe it, bro.
No.
Like, it almost looked like drug dealer money. Like, because there'll be a bunch of wines too, you know what I mean? So I'm like, it looked like I did something I wasn't supposed to do, but nah.
So,
but yeah, then a guy told me, he was like, yeah, nobody can picture you like that. So that's when I started like wearing polos. Like, I wasn't wearing suit and tie, but that's when I started wearing polos. I started wearing like nice like slacks and stuff like that, or if they were jeans, like they were like nice like jeans. They weren't like no crazy looking jeans, like. And then a couple people started calling me. Like it was a politician say, hey, I'm running for Don Beyer, I believe his name was running for something. Hired me to come to this event. And that's how I started getting a little bookings like around the area like that. But then I remember one time somebody, and then not only that, I was posting this footage online too. You know, I was super active on social media as well.
Okay.
Like, and shout out to my dad. He's like one of my biggest supporters. He come and take a lot of footage, or people walking by having fun. Oh, that's another thing. I got a sign that said, you know, King Street Sax. Like, I had my business phone number. I had my Instagram and stuff, so they could tag me if they took pictures of me. And a lot of people, I got my following up like that.
Wow.
Then I really been into like business and researching business because I was looking, or I ended up this is when I finally went full time with it. I was still teaching, but I was teaching like 3 classes, like I said.
Yeah.
Then they opened outside back up. Then so I'm teaching again, but like my music business is starting to pick up, and I'm calling up, but I already told him, and it's kind of messed up. Like, I'd already told my boss, I'm like, hey, like, my music is picking up. Like, they wanted me days that I was usually booked, and I told him, you know, I really can't pick this day. He was like, oh, well, the other teachers, don't worry about it. Like, we need somebody to cover this day. You're good. So I'm like, okay. But I was calling out more and more, and it was making him mad. But I wouldn't like just last minute. Like, I do it in advance. And he was like, man, you're I'm not gonna say his name, but he was like, man, you're like kind of like messing up. You're always calling out. Teachers have to call in for you. They upset, yada yada yada, and blah blah. Like, kind of went off on me a little bit. And up to this point, we had never had any issues. Like, he was cool, but I assume maybe he was stressing too, because I know he took a hit COVID, but he just came at me, and I'm just like, bro, I already let you know what it is. So I was like, you know what? That was my sign. I'm like, you know what? Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
I think it's my cue to go. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was like, well, you're going to, I'm like, I'll finish out the semester. I'll honor my, you know, contract or whatever. After that, I'm out.
I'm gone.
And,
respectfully.
Yeah. But up until that point though, because there's a big, like, I see this question a lot. Like, when do you know it's right to go full time? I still think you should have a part time something, because I was teaching part time. I only had 3 classes.
Yeah.
But it was still a little bit of money to, like, you know, but I made sure. And my past class started picking back up as COVID started dying down. But it was like 3 months straight where I was making more money doing my thing than I was.
At the job.
Yeah, so I didn't just quit cold turkey. I already had like a little bit of a sample size to say, okay, I can do this. You know, so yeah, that was it. I quit. I'm still going full throttle. I got my LLC, and this is like probably, if we don't talk about anything else in this interview, it's the most important part. I was able to really start getting like the bag, because the problem I see, and I ran about this on my Instagram story sometimes, the problem I see with most musicians and creatives and artists is that they move as such, and they move as hustlers, but they don't move as businesses. Like, you know, you're texting your client directly. There's no website where they can book you. There's no official, there's no contract. So once I started understanding that, like, I got my LLC, King Street Sax LLC. I have a King Street Sax LLC business account, not my personal account, a business account. You know what I mean? I had a bookkeeper, you know, I had a contract in place. So, and that's the biggest thing, like, especially when booking musicians, I feel like there's a huge disconnect there between client and musician, because clients are hoping that you're going to come and be professional and deliver the way you say you are, and as musicians, we're kind of nervous that you're going to pay us, because we've got, you know, ripped off a lot of times. But when you have that contract there, that documentation that says King Street Sax LLC at the top, so you know I'm official, and it's a contract laying out all the terms, there's no confusion about who gets what and who's supposed to do what. And I think that made people way more comfortable booking with me when I presented myself like that. Even the energy they gave me, like, they went from like, oh, like, he's just kind of like the kid we're going to bring on, to they called me by my, hey, mister. Like, they put mister in front of my name. Like, that wasn't the case before. So they started respecting me different and treating me different, because they were no longer looking at me as like just some kid or just some hustler trying to make a quick buck. They were looking at me as a business. You know what I mean? So once I had that setting up, I was still charging the same prices before I got it though. And I remember one dude went to book me, and he was like, how much you, I think I was charging like maybe what, like $50, $75 at the time for an hour. And he was like, that's it? I'm like, what do you mean that's it? And he was like, bro, I'm gonna tell you something. He was like, people who got money like spending money, because money signifies quality. He was like, now you're talented to be charging high. He was like, give an example. He was like, imagine if you go into like a Louis store, or you're trying to get a Gucci belt or a Louis belt, and that joke only costs $50, $75, $100. You know what I mean?
Even
if it's the real thing, even if it's the real thing, you're gonna be looking at it like, what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
Because of the price isn't signifying its value. It's not matching up. He's like, that's the same thing. You're cheapening yourself by charging less.
Dang.
So I'm just like, shoot. He was like, people see this great product, but they think it's something wrong with it because of the price tag attached to it. So that's what I'm like.
That's a good problem.
Yeah, for sure.
Then you could just start.
Right.
Now I'm not gonna get into your pricing, but like I'm sure you was just like, all right, I'm gonna take it more.
Well, it's nervous because it's like you kind of feel like, especially I know a lot of musicians, you kind of feel weird asking for that amount of money to come and play a saxophone. You know what I mean? So I felt I didn't stand on it. Like I tell people my price, and I remember the first time I told somebody my new price, I think I started charging like double or like 125. You know, and they were kind of looking like, oh, okay, yeah. They never didn't hit me up. The second dude that inquired didn't hit me up, so I was starting to get discouraged. I'm like, damn, maybe I should come back down. And I was about to come back down on my prices. I remember this dude called me. I was at the park with my daughter. He was like, bro, I saw you playing on the street 2 weeks ago. I've been flipping my house upside down trying to find your card.
Wow.
It's my girl anniversary. Like, how much do you charge? I told him. He was like, okay, cool. I would take care of it. And not only that, he charged me my price. He gave me like a $50 tip on top of it.
Wow.
So that confirmed with me
that you couldn't do this.
Yeah, okay, I can do this. And there's two reasons I gotta say this. If you're not getting the number that you want, it's two reasons for it, in my opinion. Three reasons. Either one, that's not your clientele, they're too cheap for it, they can't afford it. For two,
that's not your clientele. First of all, that's
a huge one. Yeah,
because some people get that confused. They may think their followers are the ones that are going to pay for their stuff,
right?
Or people that are in the same situations as them, but you got to be looking
right. Forward. Exactly. So and that's another thing too. I went from playing at like Keisha's like baby shower and like somebody's cookout and like little roundaway joints to now I'm playing at weddings and stuff because now my price, and I'm not trying to judge anybody where their financial situation is, but it's like my price put me like in a different tax bracket. You know what I mean? Or somebody who could, those people, it kind of like eliminated those people and now started introducing me to those people and I started leveling up like that. But if you're not demanding that too, either, like I said, either one, they can't afford you, they're not your clientele. Number two, either you are that good, but you're not marketing yourself the right way. You know what I mean? You are that good, but you're not doing a good job of showing people that you're that good.
Right.
Or number three is that you really aren't that good and you need to evaluate your talent level. But I think there's a lot of musicians and creatives that are that good, but they're not marketing, presenting themselves the right way.
Yeah.
Like your pictures aren't quality, your videos aren't quality. I have to go on I shouldn't have to go on if you do painting, I shouldn't have to go on your Instagram and scroll 3 rows down to find it. It should be right there. When you go, if you ever been on my social media, the King Sax _ you go, that's all you see is saxophone. You go straight, man, it's in your face, like, because it makes it look like I take it seriously. Like, if you're not posting, if you're not active about it, it makes it look like it's just a hobby. Right. If I'm paying money, I don't want somebody who's doing it as a hobby. I want somebody who's doing it as a profession.
Yeah.
So that's not, but there'll be some talented people that I don't see them post that much, if they're not that active, they ain't got no website, it's nothing. So I'm looking at you like, man, this is a game to you.
Yeah.
But if I see somebody, man, and then it shows like, we're in the social media age, if you have yourself, I post all my performances, that's your resume as well. Yes. And if you're not posting your stuff, it doesn't make you don't have much experience. Even if you do, but you're not. How does anybody know that? You're not. So marketing yourself is very important. So I started marketing myself. It got to the point I was and that's another thing too. I would go to a lot of jam sessions. And some of these jam sessions would be at nice venues, like nice looking venues, and I get somebody to record. And you don't know that I didn't get booked, but it looks like I did get booked, especially if I put on a good performance. So they're thinking, okay, he's played there, he probably got paid a little, and that, it just, perception is so important. Perception is important, man. I remember
you really picking up so many different gems,
man.
Like trial and error. Man, you're really learning from these lessons. It'd be different if you didn't if you weren't adapting to every situation, if you weren't picking up on game, that shows that shows your intelligence, first of all. That's different. I think that's the thing that separates you. If I could say anything from this interview and what I've learned about you, is that you pick up on stuff like really quick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're not afraid.
You got to.
You know what I'm saying?
I learned all my lessons came from my mistakes.
Yeah.
Every single last one. Like every time I had like a quote unquote set, I don't even look at it as a setback. I look at it as a stepping stone. Now I know this, I stack it up. Now I know this, now I'm walking, I'm elevating. Like that's how you had to be. And that's how I learned something from every different. I remember the first time I tried to go to a venue. It was a venue on. I'm not going to say who they are. It was a venue in Old Town, Virginia. I remember one day I was playing and this guy heard me and they was like, man, come sit in with us. And I sat in with it and I killed it. And it was like, oh man, you sound amazing. Like they was like, yo, come back another night. And then kill it. And I'm killing it to the point, and my OGs are there, like people around the way who saw me play, and they're vouching for me. Oh man, get him his own date, give him his own night. And I was basically begging. I spent like 3 months playing on this joint for free, trying to beg for it. Mm-hmm. And then it turned out never giving me we're in talks, whatever, but it ended up never happening.
Wow.
And you know what I mean? And that was a huge lesson. That's just a lesson you can apply in life in general. Everything I got, like all the big opportunities I ever got, wasn't because I went and asked or begged for it. They all sought me out. Like if somebody wants you, they're gonna show you and they're gonna act accordingly. You don't have to guess. You don't have to beg. That comes in relationships. That comes in business. That comes if you're applying for a job. That comes in anything. And that was a huge lesson I learned. I'm like, okay, because later on I felt how it felt to be wanted and really appreciated and valued. So I learned that. Then I learned how to start taking deposits, 50% deposit before I get there. First, just pay, but sometimes people wouldn't try and pay, or they would pay. Well, everybody pretty much paid because we were on a contract, but they pay late. You know what I mean? Or sometimes people will cancel the last minute. So I'm like, yo, I need a deposit because that shows me that you are really invested into what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever had anybody send me a deposit and then unless like something like weather or like some unforeseen event happened. But I had people booking me and then canceling because they realized they didn't have enough money to afford me. But that's why I require 50% deposit or I'm not coming, at all. But I knew if you sent that money that you were serious. Then it got to the point I got more experience some nights that I could charge the whole thing, 50 cents up front, the remaining, that's how I do it now, 50 cents up front, the remaining due 3 days before, or I'm not showing up. If you do not pay me my full amount, I'm not showing up. Because at this point, you know who I am. But at this point, they know I'm serious because they've seen my track record. Oh, he's playing at that spot. You're not expecting the dude that's playing at this gala or this fancy wedding or this. You're not expecting him to stiff you. You know what I mean? So you feel real. And he has a whole contract attached to it. Like, so people are comfortable sending me money full on. But again, I refine my business.
Yeah.
Like too many, I'm emailing you. Like I have a booking form and then I call you from a business number, not from my regular phone. You know what I mean? Like I'm set up as a business. So they are treating me as a business thing, So those are the biggest things I learned. Business is like the word of the day, bro.
I'm sure people at home, they weren't expecting to get this type of business lesson.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I'm saying? But that's something that you have to be, especially now if you want to take yourself serious, if you want to get to another stage, another level, to the point where now like you doing world tours, like where you go on to different continents and different countries with like comedians from different countries. Like tell me a bit about that too before we spin away, we talk a little bit about the music. I want to know like how has your saxophone opened up the world to you, specifically like on this world tour?
Man, so like I said, through all my experiences, through and the last part about grinding, this is how it's going to lead to that. I connected with as many musicians as I can. I went to it'll be times I go to like 3 jam sessions a night. You know what I mean? And that's another too, support, man. It's moments that even if I wasn't it wasn't a jam session, I pull up and support people. Because that's the number one thing we value as creatives and entrepreneurs more than anything is support. Whether you just coming and showing love, whether you buying it, whether you reposting it, man, that means the world to us. Like nobody wants to play or throw an event and nobody shows up. You know what I mean? You want that. So I would go and I'd network with these people and I'd show up to these jam sessions and I'd just show up. Like it would be I'd listen to their music and I'm like, hey man, I listened to that project you put out. I love song number 4. They're like, man, you took the time out. So now when they're calling people for gigs, I might not be the best dude for the job, but guess what? I'm the first person that pops up to mind. The homie that always shows love, homie that be at the jam session, homie that be killing it. You know what I mean? Like So that's another reason too. So always network. But and networking through those people is what led to that opportunity. Funny enough, it's this guy. Shout out to Fred Moss. I met him at a talent agency, and then that led to me playing at a spot with him in Baltimore called Cat's Eye Pub. It's like in Fells Point. It's this cool little like swanky little like bar. Like people get wasted, you know. Mm-hmm. But I hadn't performed with him for a minute, and one day he just popped up in my mind. I don't even know why. And I hit him up. I was like, "Hey, bro, you know, haven't heard from you in a while. If you got any performances coming up, let me know." And he was like, "Hey, man, I got all my performances covered. But funny enough, I was booked for this comedy like festival or something. I double booked. I can't make it. Can you fill it in?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Give me the details." I'm filling in. I'm thinking it's like just a little something. I get a little buck. Like it wasn't. The details weren't that crazy. So I'm like, "Cool, I'll take it." They sent me the info. They're like, "Yeah, you open up for Maximini." That's the comedian I went on tour with. I'm like, "Who's Maximini?" I never heard of him. He's Iranian. I never heard of him. I go on, look him up, do some research. This dude got like, he's killing. He got like 4 million, 3 million. Well, at the time, he has 4.4 million now. By the time he had 3 million followers on Instagram. Like, wow. And he's so like, yeah, he's like the Iranian, like Kevin Hart, man. Like, he's big to them. Wow. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So I'm like, oh, shoot, okay. So I'm like, oh, this should be a little fun then. And then I think the theater, we was at the George Washington Theater in D.C. It seats 1,500. Both seats were sold out. So it was me and this other dude playing like guitar, acoustic guitar that was opening up. I opened up first and he opened up second. So I'm thinking that, you know, it's the early show. People are still trickling in. They got the lights off and you can't see the crowd. So I'm thinking like, I'm just playing for like stragglers and stuff. People coming in late. But they turn on the lights. They announce my name. They turn on the lights. It's fully packed in the joint. Like wow. Everybody's in their seat. I'm like, oh shoot, 1,500 people. Wow. So I'm like, I just do my thing. I just played a bunch of covers.
Is that the biggest crowd you've been at that point?
At that point, yeah, especially solo. Yeah, I might have been in like biggest crowd with like some other bands, but by myself solo, that was for sure the biggest crowd. So I just did my thing, do what I did, like, and then by the end of the jump, people are up, people are dancing, people are clapping, having a good time. So I go to the back. He's in the back, Maximini. I hadn't met him yet until this point. And they have TVs in the back so he can see my performance. And he was like, "Bro, you killed it. You're amazing. You killed it." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." So it went from that, like, I only did 10 minutes. They asked me a second time, "Can you go second? Can you do 15 minutes?" I'm like, "Yeah." Do the same thing. The crowd had the crowd going crazy. Wow. So, but this is a part of the network. Like the other dude I was with, we talked in the backstage a little bit, and he was like, "Okay," he went home. Me, I'm like, so the set, he had 2 shows that night. The first show was like what 7, 8. Second show was like 10. Then he does a meet and greet after. I'm done my joint, and then his show is like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah. So and that's not, man. Dude works hard, man. Like I don't know how to entertain a crowd for that long doing comedy. That's hard, and he goes hard every night, bro. Like he don't ever. I'm not feeling good. I'm a short change. I'm gonna cut the short in half. I'm gonna skip out. He goes for it every single time. So I'm like, I want to meet him and say thank you. So I got there probably like around like 5, 6 o'clock for like sound check. So finally, after he does his second show and like meet and greet, it's 1 a.m. And then I waited in my dressing room the whole entire time until he meet and greeted everybody, and I came and introduced myself. He was like, "Bro, you're amazing. Like, you're so effing amazing." Like, he was like, "I've had a lot of openers. Like, that's the first time I ever seen people like engaged." He was like, "Usually the people are just sitting through the openers getting ready for me." But he was like, "You had them engaged. You had them up. You had them running. You had them do all that." And yeah, it was amazing. I was like, "Yeah, bro. If you got anything else, just let me know." And he was like, "Yeah, I'll definitely hit you up. I'll definitely hit you up." But you know, everybody says that, so I'm not thinking of it. So I have a good time that night. Like I was a little lit, not gonna hold you, and I'm thinking like that was just a cool moment. It was a fun moment. So the next day, it's like 10 a.m. I'm like just waking up. I got like 5 missed calls. It's a message say, "Hey, it's Maximini. I want to take you to Orlando." Wow. I'm like, so I call him. I'm like, "Hey, bro, what's going on?" He's like, "Yeah, I had some openers. Was thinking about in Florida, but I canceled them. I want you to come with us." I'm like, shoot, I'll be there. Yeah. And he was like, "All right, cool. Play at least an hour and a half." I'm like, what? I'm in Camp Springs. It's Dulles. Wow. I'm just like, so I even packed. I just took a duffel bag. I just threw a bunch of clothes in it. I'm just like, I'll figure out later. Yeah. Right. I missed the plane by like 5 minutes. Dang. So I'm like, I call him like, "I'm sorry, bro. Like, I appreciate the offer." He was like, man, we put on your next flight, no worries.
Wow.
Put me on the next flight. But I ended up getting there. Like, he had 2 shows that night in Orlando. I missed the first. No, I didn't miss the first show, but I missed sound check. So my sound isn't right. I don't think I did. I didn't have my wireless mic. I had to stay stationary the whole time because they didn't have time to set it up. I had to do both shows like that. So my sound wasn't the way I wanted it. Like the first one out here, like I did like a real sound check, make sure my sound was sounding good. So I thought I did horrible, and I thought he was going to like tell me, okay, you know, that was cool, send me back. So he was like, hey bro, you want to go to Fort Lauderdale tomorrow? And I'm like, and it's funny, that feels like, because that's where my dad's from. He's from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Wow.
So I'm like, yeah. So this is how I got like real. We were all taking a train there. It was like me, him, his like production manager, like a couple other people was taking the train. We all went on the first train, and Max went on the second train. And I kind of finessed it. I kind of made it seem like, I'm like, hey, like I kind of like, you know, this was like a last minute thing. I had some arrangements I need to make. Is it possible that I can get on the second train with Max? They was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So because I wanted to get like some one-on-one time with him, like get to know him, like get us to know each other and stuff. And that's exactly what happened. So we're talking. I'm getting to know him. He's getting to know me. He's like, bro, you doing anything tomorrow? I'm like, nah. He's like, you want to come to Boston? I'm like, yeah. And it's crazy. I felt a little bit because I had like 6 bookings that weekend. But I just said, I mean, but because there was this one dude, I understand, like I was supposed to play for his like wife's birthday, but I'm just like, I understand, I feel your pain, I'm sorry, but bro, you can't turn down a tour.
No, this is life changing.
Yeah, life changing. I'm just like, bro, that's like if you got an opportunity of a lifetime, but I'm like, bro, you wouldn't miss that for your party. But I know, shout out to my man Music Ray, he held it down for me. Like he did like all my events that I had booked like before, so he another amazing saxophone player. And he DJ too, so go check him out. But yeah, so I went. I killed it in Boston. He was like, bro, like, how would you want to come to Canada with us? I'm like, yeah. But at this point, I didn't have my passport. And I got the text message in my phone. It was this a friend I was talking to, and she was asking me, we were talking about the places that she traveled. This was back in January. Mm-hmm. And I posted it on my story. And she was telling me the places she traveled. She was like, what about you? And I was like, I didn't travel yet because my thing is I always wanted my first time to be out the country to being booked. I came close a couple of times. I almost went to Lagos. I almost went to Mexico for a wedding, but COVID messed those up. Yeah. So at that point, I still didn't. I told her that back in January. I'm like, yeah, I want my first time out the country to be booked. But I haven't been booked yet, so I didn't get my passport, which is on me. I should have been a little more prepared. Proactive on it.
Just prepare for it.
Yeah, prepare for it. Yeah. If I thought it was going to happen. That's another thing. You need to prepare for things as if they're already happening. You know what I mean? Because you're showing the world that you're going to attract it. How are you going to attract it if you're not moving in it? You know what I mean? One of my favorite quote is, don't shrink your dream to where you are, go into what it's supposed to be. So I took that philosophy. Yeah, I took that. I think that was Michael Beckwith that said that. And I went crazy with it. So I finessed, right? Because I didn't have my passport. And he's like, bro, you ain't got your passport? I'm just like, bro, it's cool. I don't know if he knows this, but I was like, I got an appointment for it to get one tomorrow. Like, it's cool. I just made that up. I ain't had no, but I'm like, I'm going home and I'm finding it has to work. Yeah. Something has to happen. Mm-hmm. So I'm researching, and they're saying like even the quickest ones like expedited take at least 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, the worst I miss a day is no biggie, right? So I go, and they head to Canada. I head back home. I need to get like some more clothes stuff anyway. Like I said, I just threw stuff in the bag, but I look online. I got all my paperwork, like the passport picture and everything, all my documentation, birth certificate. I look online, and they don't have any availability for like weeks for an appointment. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I called them like the first. They opened at like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever. I'm on the phone like 7:59, like waiting. I'm like, my call gets through, and I explain the situation. I'm like, hey, this wasn't me procrastinating. I just got this amazing business opportunity that came out of nowhere, like literally like a few days ago, and I needed. Yeah. And dude was like, man, I want to help you out, bro. He was like, wow. I got one appointment for the opening tomorrow. We open at 8 o'clock. If you can be there at 8 o'clock, it's your appointment. So I'm like, okay. I set up the appointment. Get there at 8 o'clock, bro. I give them my documentation. I'm out by 8:05. They said come pick up your passport at 11:30 in the morning. Like, and the whole process only took 3.5 hours.
That's crazy.
When I got my passport and I was calling him, I was like, hey, bro, he thought I was joking. Max thought I was joking. He's like, yeah, when you going to get it? I sent him a picture. I'm like, yo, I already got it. He was like, bro, you can make it tonight. I'm like, we're going to see. So I wasn't, they had booked me a later flight because they didn't think I was going to get my passport that quick.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, bro, there's a flight. I'm in D.C. Dallas is like a 30-minute. They're like, this is like 12 o'clock at this point. They said there was a 12:30, but it got delayed an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to get on that plane and make the first show.
Wow.
In Canada, Ottawa, Canada, my very first city out the country. So I'll never forget Ottawa, Canada. Then we went to Toronto and ended up filming his special with him. He did a whole man. This dude and this is at Netflix. Like has his own production company, so like he's funding this himself. Like dude, like believes in himself, invests in himself, and like just goes crazy. And we had like 6 nights in Toronto, so that went crazy. And after Toronto, we took like a week and a half break. So I'm chilling. He calls me like a few days later, like a week later, and he's like, "Bro, my team doesn't want me to do this because it is gonna cost a lot of money to add somebody last minute. But bro, I don't care. I want you. We doing Australia and Europe next week. Like, can you make it?" I'm like, "Bro, I'm there." So so we ended up doing 3 countries, North America, 3 continents, North America, Europe, Australia, 6 countries, which was the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Norway, and Sweden. And we did 16 cities. I ain't gonna name all these cities. It's a lot of cities. We did that in a span in 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So
what's the major thing you learned from that experience?
Man, I learned so much, man.
Especially just going to different places, seeing different cultures. Like
everything is, when I went to like Australia stuff, they're like a lot more chill than us over here. Like I feel like the same stresses and like survival we have here, they don't have over there. But they don't have to worry about, like we went to Australia. They told me, I think like when were we at? Sydney, Australia. I think they had like 1 mass shooting back in like the 70s, 80s, something like that.
Oh wow, we were having them back to back.
But the government shut that down. They hadn't had one since. Like they didn't play. Like they like, yo, we over there looking bad. Like feeling sorry for y'all. Like how like it just happened in Georgia. Like what, yesterday, a couple of days ago. So they not worrying about, the crime rates aren't as high. Like it was still, even though, and I'm the only black dude in most of these situations. Yeah. The only other black people I'm seeing is like security and like the people that are working at the venues. Like most of the people there was white, but I never felt like threatened. I never felt like
everybody was just chill.
Everybody was just chill. Wow. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that racism don't exist, but I'm like, I don't want to be like, yeah, it's just different, man. Different. So that's the biggest thing. Another thing too, I was really surprised how much they like our culture. Like when I'm going to all the stores and stuff, they're playing American music. They're not playing like Australian artists and stuff, or they're not playing Norwegian artists. They're playing American music in all the stores and stuff.
See, and that's what people don't realize. Like, yeah, America right now, when it comes to education, even when it comes to financials, we're not number 1 anymore, but we are number 1 in influence.
Yeah, and we're number 1 in influence. The way they dress, the culture, they got the flu games and the Jordans and stuff and all that. You know what I mean? Like, you go into some of these thrift stores or regular stores, and they have like throwback like Michael Jordan jerseys and all this stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Michael Vick jersey and stuff like that, like in like freaking Australia. You know what I mean? So
what y'all know about Michael?
Yeah, I'm just like, hey, yo, bro, I'll never forget. I don't know, it was crazy. It was this
it was crazy.
I forgot what theirs is called. It's like a version of Burger King there. Okay. It was nasty to me though. I'm sorry.
I heard the food in other countries not.
Yeah, I actually ate mostly Persian food, Iranian food, because that's who I was with most of the time, and he always knew like the people who owned the best restaurants in town, like Persian restaurants in town. Yeah. So I wasn't eating too much of like their food, like the country native food. But it's funny. I remember it was this homeless guy. I was in the little Burger King, and he's like, "Bro, I'm hungry. Get something to eat." I'm like, "Yeah, bro, I got you." And we just started talking. He's like, "Yeah, bro, I want to be a rapper." I'm like, "Oh, well, who's your 2 like favorite rappers?" He said 50 Cent. He said my other favorite is Pooh Shiesty, bro. I'm like, what you know about?
Crazy.
In Australia, white dude in Australia talking about his favorite rapper is Pooh Shiesty, bro. I'm like, what? So our influence is like crazy.
We don't even understand that though.
Yeah.
How you go for
that's like, crazy. Yeah, I'm like, yo, it threw me way off. Man. That's the last person I ever thought he'd say, bro. Like, man, it's crazy. So yeah, that's the biggest thing. Just how they kind of like move about life is a lot more like chill,
Okay. I like that, man. Well, before we wrap the interview, bro, I just want to give you some time to speak to your fans, to people that don't know you. that might be just introduced to you from this video, like, what do you want people to understand about you? Like what's something lasting that you want people to understand that help inspire them, like the way that some of the musicians and teachers in your life inspired you?
My favorite quote to live by is music touches the soul where words can't reach. And my biggest thing is the reason why I think I've had success I had, not because I try to flaunt, I try to fake, and I don't even want to say be yourself because that's very cliche, even though you should be yourself. I think the number one thing is because I've moved in my purpose. But what you have to realize is your purpose isn't about you, it's about somebody else. It's a gift. If I don't give it to you, it's not a gift. You know what I mean? A lot of people keep their gifts to themselves. I think it's supposed to benefit them. No, it's supposed to benefit you. I understood that. I remember I was playing at the Macy's. This was like before a tour, like years ago. And I was playing at the Macy's in Towson Mall in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. And for Mother's Day, somebody had hired me to come play like while the mothers were shopping at Mother's Day. I played Can You Stand the Rain by Boyz II Men. And there's like this older lady in the corner. She's crying, like bawling, crying. I'm like, I know I sound good, but I don't sound that good. You crying, like, yeah. But look, she came to me and she was like, my husband died 3 months ago. That was his favorite song. And I never felt more connected to him since until this moment right now.
Wow.
So I'm just like,
that's different.
That's when I realized it was deeper than me. Then the manager saw it. She took me to her office. She was like, I saw what you did for that lady. That was beautiful. She was like, anything in this office you want, go ahead and take it. I'm like, what? She's like, anything you want to take it. I'm like, you sure? She's like, take it before I change my mind. So I got like a Ralph Lauren bag. I got 2 like Armani Exchange watches. I got some cologne. Like, it was crazy. So it taught me 2 lessons. It was like my purpose is bigger than myself, but it will make room for you. Like, I learned that lesson there. Like, man, even like playing in the clubs and stuff in Baltimore and where I really started getting my name out there, it'd be like, dude, hood dudes like popping bottles, tearing the furniture. They'd be coming to me. They'd be like, bro. One dude told me, he's like, bro, I was having like the roughest week. I wasn't expecting to come in here and hear you, bro, but you just made my whole entire day. You know what I'm saying? Like, stuff like that. So I really approach it as like, when I play, I give it my all, because I'm like, I'm giving the people something. Like, music heals, music changes. I even think about it in church. When do people start like catching the Holy Ghost and start shouting and stuff? It's not when the preacher is preaching, it's when the band starts playing. That's when you see them up and running. That's when you see them crying. That's when you see them. That's why they play first, to set the atmosphere and reach the people where words can't. You know what I mean? So like the power and the gift I have is real powerful, and I have to, like, when you know your purpose is like a compass. Like, even sometimes I might get sidetracked. Okay, this might cost more, or if you can ask yourself, does this align with my purpose? It'll get you back on track every single time. But you have to know that it is purpose. But also don't let it define you. Like, it's not who I am. I'm channeling who I am through the instrument, but I'm not a saxophone player. You know what I mean? I am who I am. Like, I think I'm a leader. I think I'm a confidant. I think I'm light to like show other people the way that may not know the way I had to learn it and the way people showed me. Like, so that's the gems, and that's what I want people to like really know and understand. Like, I live and I play through purpose, and I feel like I connect people in a personal way. I feel like I've really mastered to put myself through the horn. You know, some people are like really technical, and some people have all the sounds and all the right techniques, but they don't know how to connect. And that's a huge thing. You have to connect with the people that you are trying to reach. So I know it's a little long-winded of an answer, but
but it was worthy. I think people can really take, especially like the business portion, and you understanding that, take that plus the purpose, because people are really driven by, I will say, selfish reasons, but also by other people. You know, we're in a social media era, you know, where people aren't really thinking for themselves. Yeah. They're really thinking and comparing themselves to other people. But through your journey and through this interview, I think people can learn that when you're connected to something higher, when you're connected to your God's purpose, that a lot more things just kind of piece together. Yeah, like a puzzle.
Man, it flows, man. When you're walking in your purpose, everything flows. You don't have to. When you're walking in person, you realize you don't have to be what you already are. Fact. You know what I mean? One of my friends told me that. Shout out to Nika. She told me that you don't have to be what you already are. Like, you attract it, you are it. You know what I mean? And you can walk. It's like the light. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you're really moving closer toward it. You know, like, once I really started doing that and honing on that, it's like the opportunities. Every single like opportunity I've gotten, you know, the big ones, I never had to ask for it or beg for it or chase it. It always came to me. Like, people are like, yo, can you be this? Or I was at the right place at the right time and this opportunity opened up. Like, it's stuff that I didn't orchestrate. Like, it has to, I'm good, but I ain't that good to orchestrate everything that happened. Like, But the way it happens is like, and then manifesting too. The last thing is manifesting. Once I started manifesting, I would manifest, but I keep it to myself. But I started telling people my manifestations because it started holding me accountable, and that like it's out there now. Like somebody, like I tell somebody, I'm like, yeah, I tell people, yeah, I'm going on tour. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I'm going on tour. Even it's funny, I got another message. One of my friends and my manager came. Shout out to her. The night when I went and I found out who Max was, I'm like, bro, I'll show you it off screen. I was like, I know I'm gonna go in there and kill it, and like, yo, the goal is, he gonna take me on tour. But I wasn't gonna beg for it. Was it either it's for me, and if it's not for you, if you don't get it, it's not for you. And there's many reasons. Even that's an opportunity that takes you somewhere you don't need to go, or you weren't ready for it. It's some opportunities I got so mad at that I didn't get, and I realized after I really progressed, and then you look back and see yourself like, dang, I would have messed that up. Yeah. Either like through mentally, either like through my skill, either like I wasn't at the right place to receive it. I'm like, bro, you would have messed it up. There's a reason you didn't.
Relate to that.
Yeah, it's a reason you didn't get it. Every time, it's not for you. If you don't get it, it's not for you. If you don't get that girl,
it's hard
not
thing
for
to
you.
Accept.
Yeah, but once I started learning that, because now you can see the lesson in it. Because now you can realize why wasn't it for. Well, sometimes you don't know, but usually there's a lesson in it. I'm like, dang, okay, maybe I can. Because that's like accountability too. Because I realized like a lot of bad things or quote unquote things that have happened to me, even whether I did it directly or indirectly. Most things you have a hand in. And most things that, once I realized, like, dang, just about every single thing that happens to me, whether good or bad, I control in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? And once I started understanding that, I started learning, okay, if it wasn't for me, then what could I have done better? What could I have to control what I control in the situation? You know what I mean? And if the thing was, bro, you did everything flawlessly, then you don't even want that opportunity if it can't come to you after you've done everything the right way. Mm-hmm. Why would you even want that opportunity or situation? You know? So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, man. Yeah. I've learned a lot from this interview, both about you and about business, about living in your purpose.
Yeah, you know, sure.
I mean, you just encompass everything, bro.
Yeah.
And I wish you luck on your journey.
I appreciate it.
You know, and hopefully more blessings come to you. I don't see any of that stopping anytime soon, based off the mindset. Yeah. You know, because that's what it's all about.
I just have to keep going.
What are you putting out there in the energy?
What are you putting in? And it's going to get reciprocated. And to not be complacent. Like, I don't care. Okay, now I'm doing cool things. Like, even like coming back from tour, man, I'm just like, I don't want to be the guy that just said, I went on tour to go on tour. Like, what are we doing next? Like, that's what, so I end up, because Max was telling me, and Max was amazing. And Max was part of the reason, he was telling me some good stuff about business too. Now I'm in the process of putting a team together because this whole time I've been doing it by myself. So I got a manager now. Shout out to Kami Management who handles like my clients. And I don't talk to my clients anymore. Like I used to talk to every single one. I used to book it directly. Talk to them about pricing and stuff. She handles that all that now. But that brings a different cachet too as well. I remember when I went on tour and somebody tried to book me for the tour, and I'm still operating like I'm still handling everything. So she called me. She was like, "Wow, I wasn't expecting to speak to you." Like I didn't even think. I'm like, dang, I'm trying to make my dream shrink to who I am versus growing to it. So now, and it's funny because this dude other day tried to book me for something. I was like, yeah, you gotta speak to a manager. He was like, oh, like you could see, like, dang, he thought he was going to come to me directly and like swindle and try and hackle and stuff. But it's like once you have a manager in place like that, conduit or that liaison in between, like. I could go on all day, bro. But I just learned to evolve and grow and yeah.
Okay.
So
well, shoot, man, King, I appreciate you coming through. Hopefully we can connect again when you put out like some more music or something. Sure. Like I would love to sit down with you to see like your elevation each time.
For sure.
Because bro, you've been through a lot in like since 2020.
Yeah, that
in this year alone for real.
Yeah, it really started. Yeah, this year has been probably the craziest year.
Yeah.
And I ain't even touch on half the stuff. The one thing I will say, make sure you check out my debut single "Love You Better," which I actually recorded in Sweden. On the road, produced by Brandon Watts and featuring him. He's singing on the track, he's playing guitar, he produced it. And my last little thing, I just wanted the inspiration between, that song. When he had called me on tour the second time to do the Australia run, that first part of the tour, I just done all covers. I'm like, man, there's no way I can go across the world playing everybody else's music and not have a song of my own. So I was like 2 days before I left, I hit up my man Brandon Watts. I was like, hey, bro, I'm about to go on tour. I need a song, something that can get people moving, like an Afrobeatish type, because I was really into Afrobeats at the time. He said, yeah, sure, no problem. He sent me back one track. I was like, I need something. It was like a little chill. It wasn't a bad track. It was just too chill, too mellow. I'm like, nah, bro, I need something upbeat. So I sent him Truth or Dare by Tyler as inspo because I love Tyler's probably like one of my favorite artists right now.
Tyler.
Like Tyler. She's very simple, but she's like creates a euphony. If you listen to her like melodies, they take you on a journey throughout the whole entire song. So I sent that track to him. He's like, got you. He sent me back the song in like an hour.
Wow.
Like, that beat you heard, he sent that thing back in like an hour, bro. Wow. And I'm just like, dog. And then like the melody instantly like just flowed off. I have a little inspiration, like some heartbreaking stuff goes into that. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll dive more into that at another time. But the words "Love You Better" basically comes from because I had a situation with a girl and she kind of cut it off with me. We had been on and getting off again, and I thought I was doing everything I could, but I realized, dang, I could have loved you better. You know what I mean? So that's where that kind of came from. And yeah, the melodies just started flowing, and it only took me like 2 takes. I recorded it on my phone. It took like 2 takes. Yeah,
instantly.
It took like 2 takes to like really like let's say how it usually worked. The first take is like I'm throwing all like my paint on the canvas, and the second take is like, okay, now I'm refining it to look like something. So I recorded it. I sent it back to him. He was like, hey, bro, like he was like, can I add something to it? Yeah. Then he added the vocals on it. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. I said, can you add a drum break on it? He added a drum break on it. So cool. I took it to Sweden. I found a producer. Shout out to Nick at Future Work Studios in Gothenburg, Sweden. Then at that last part at the end where I'm like kind of going off, I wasn't supposed to do that. Like I was only supposed to do a couple little notes and leave it. And I just started feeling it. I was like, hey bro, keep it rolling, keep it rolling. So I'm sitting there going off, he going crazy, and then the track just had good energy. So yeah, that was my debut single. I released it on my birthday. Love You Better by King Sax featuring Brandon Watts. On all platforms. You can also follow me at all platforms. The King Sax _ because somebody stole my name. I gotta get it from him. But the King Sax, the King Sax _ my website is kingsax.com. Pretty simple. So
I love it. Bro, thanks for coming through, man.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you. We sit down again.
Yeah, for sure.
Make sure y'all tap in. Phenomenal Radio. Appreciate AIM Society for allowing us to use their studio. Shout out AJ, Richie, Brandon, and King, man, for making this happen, bro. Y'all stay tuned. Peace. All right.
That was cool, bro.
That's a wrap, man.
Peace.
How you feel?
Cool.